I think it goes without saying, doesn't it, that it's really very important, particularly as we go through what we're going through, that we look after our mental health, particularly right now when lots of people are feeling the strain of it all. And if you think you might benefit from some counselling, then there's a new partnership sprung up that might be able to help you. Jack Woodhams is from the York Mindfulness Group, and Sinead Tingley is from Serendipity Counselling. And they join us on the line this morning. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning. I knew I was going to struggle over saying serendipity. I can normally say it until I see it written down. Jack, tell us about the teaming up of the York Mindfulness Group with Sinead.
Yes, so we've been working with Sinead now for about a year, and I got in touch with Sinead because we're really mindfulness has grown from strength to strength. Lots of guys getting together over lots of different activities that we run, including allotments, walk and talks, and social circuits, and it's going really, really well. I felt that although 9 out of 10 of the guys were happy with that and that support and that engagement from other friends, but there was a 1 out of 10 who I felt they might need some support from a professional services, and so we're so lucky that the platforms that we have, not only Mindfulness but Yorkie Dads, we've got over 2,000 guys there who we can talk to. So we just asked them the questions of what stops you from accessing counselling, and the number one was it was too long of a waiting list. Then the stigma, and then the cost. So that's so we look at the problem, and we wanted to try and fix that. So we got in touch with Serendipity, who have been nothing but amazing by being able to support over 35 blokes who wouldn't have accessed that support before, and making a huge difference.
Let's bring Sinead into the equation here. Good morning again.
Good morning.
How have you been able to help? Because, as Jack's just said, there are all sorts of obstacles to people getting counselling. First and foremost, saying that you think you might need it and then accessing it. How have you been able to help?
Well, I think we recognised that there was a real community need for counselling. And the waiting lists for some of the larger organisations, they're either closed or they're 6 months, 9 months. So we wanted to be able to do our bit to help the community. So the way it worked is I'm a visiting lecturer at York St John. So I work with York St John, Teesside and Leeds Beckett universities to provide placements to mental health professionals who are already qualified in their field, but they've gone back to uni to do PhDs in counselling psychology or master's degrees in psychotherapy. So those are the guys who are really experienced and highly qualified who are working with the mindfulness clients at the moment.
What sort of issues do people come forward with? And are those issues that have been particularly prompted by lockdowns and by being in the midst of a pandemic at the moment?
I think that's added an extra layer of complexity to the work we're seeing. With the mindfulness clients, we're seeing a lot of there's anxiety or long-term depression. We're also seeing issues around relationships where guys are struggling to kind of really open up and talk about how they're feeling about different relationships in their lives. And I think the levels of anxiety around the pandemic, all of our client lists have gone up with that kind of presenting issue at the moment, yeah.
The lockdown has sort of, I think, for a lot of people, it's intensified the nature of maybe problematic relationships or problems with actually dealing with yourself and who you are, because in so many ways, without the distraction of pubs and restaurants and meals and mates and this and that and the other, the things that blokes very often fill their lives with, rather than talking to friends about their problems, as women traditionally do, it's distilled down the essence of what some of those issues might be.
Absolutely. I think it's heightened. It's shone a spotlight because nobody's been able to go out and shake off what's going on for them and use those distracting, kind of strategies to not think about things and not talk about things. So I think there has been a lot of self-examination. And I think it's just highlighted perhaps things that were in the background. The pandemic has brought them to the fore.
Jack, what's your sort of take on how counselling is helping some of the people who are part of the York Mindfulness Group?
Yeah, it's making a world of difference. It's also making a world of difference for myself, knowing that I can refer across to Serendipity, knowing that they're actors in that service that they need to. I think, when we're encouraging blokes to talk and open up and saying, it's okay not to be okay and ask twice and share. But, when a bloke like myself reaches 40 and has never talked before, and there's a lot of hidden stuff there that they need to explore. But we're kind of changing it around and changing the mindset and teaching the guys, all that toxic masculinity nonsense, grow a pair, man up. It's all absolutely rubbish. And that's what we're trying to show guys, that, by actually talking and opening up and being vulnerable, it takes much more being strength and being a man. And that and you can see the guys talk to each other about it. Those everyday conversations. You can see them at the allotment groups. Oh, did you have your counselling session before? And that, instead of hiding away from it, actually normalising talking and getting help. And it just makes a huge difference. It certainly helped me 10 years ago. Made a huge difference for me. And just by knowing that you're not alone and you're helping other people, it's wonderful. And we're very blessed to have Sinead and the team at Serendipity to be able to refer across there, because we're just not. I'm good at being a friend. I'm good at being a mate. I can talk to people, but having professionals there for their input, and I think it's something that certainly we've got a model here that can spread across the country.
Jack, good to speak to you this morning. Sinead, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You'll find the York Mindfulness Group on Facebook, their own Twitter feed and all the rest of it. And through them, you can get access to the help being offered by Sinead and Serendipity Counselling. It's 12 minutes